Chapter 3 Player Piano. Outside, the sad tune played on. "It's coming from there," said Annie. She crept toward a building that had a sign with the word hotel on it. Jack limped after her. Annie slowly pushed open a swinging door. They peeked inside. The fading daylight lit a piano in the corner of the room. The keys were moving up and down, but no one was there. Zack and Annie backed out of the hotel. When they got outside, they heard another sound, horse hooves thumping against the hard ground. A cloud of dust seemed to be moving toward the town. As it got closer, Jack saw 3 riders. They were herding a small band of horses. "Hide," Jack said. "Where?" said Annie. Jack looked around wildly. He saw 2 barrels outside the hotel. "There," he said. Jack and Annie hurried to the empty barrels. Jack climbed inside one and tried to crouch down. His head wouldn't fit. He jumped out of the barrel and threw his head into the hotel. "Mine too," said Annie. Jack grabbed the horse and threw it. Then he scrambled back in the barrel. Just in time, Jack heard the horses thunder into the He peeked through a crack in the barrel and saw a blow of cowboys and horses go by. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," men shouted. Jack heard the horses come to a halt. They stamped and snorted. All he could see were shadows through the crack. Dust covered Jack. He had to sneeze. He pinched his nose. The creek bed must have dried up. A cowboy yelled, "This town's a ghost." "Yep, it gives me the shivers." And another, "Let's camp over the rides." Jack really had to sneeze now. He pinched his nose tighter, but he couldn't stop the sneeze. He let out a choke. "Ouch!" "What was that?" someone said. Just then, a loud whinny split the air. Jack saw a beautiful horse rear up. She had no rider or saddle, just a rope around her neck. She was as red as the sunset. She had a wide black mane and a white star above her eyes. "We can't keep fighting this one, boss," a cowboy yelled. "Yep, she wants her colt." Another said, "We shouldn't have left him behind. He was too slow." A growly voice said, "We'll sell her when he crossed the border." "That's terrible," thought Jack. He knew Annie must be upset too. He just hoped that she wouldn't jump out of her barrel. But the cowboys pulled the red horse away. The ground rang from the pounding of hooves as they galloped off. Jack and Annie stood up. They watched the riders disappear into the dust. The pounding faded away. All was quiet again, except for the lazy buzzing of flies. "They were mean to that horse," Annie said in a low, angry voice. "I know, but there was nothing we could do," said Jack. His boots were killing him. He climbed out of his barrel. "Man, I have to get these off," he said. Jack sat down on the porch of the hotel. He grabbed the foot of one boot and pulled. "Jack," said Annie, "I think there is something we can do." "What?" Jack looked up. A small horse was running down the road. He was as red as the wild mother horse. He had the same black mane and white star above his eyes. A rope was around his neck. He looked very roast.